Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and delighted to have in the studio with us, excuse me, our good friend David Kupelian. He's the author of Snapping of the American Mind. He's authored several other books we'll talk about here in a moment. He also is with WorldNet Daily, and you'll see his articles there as well. And he's here we're going to jaw a little bit about the RNC convention and things happening and what he hopes to hear tonight. Good to see you, David.
Thank you, Perry.
And I want to say, show us your books there real quick. This is the one that, your first one here, The Marketing of Evil. I read this out of curiosity, and then I just realized how powerful this book really is. And it's still available, right?
It is. In fact, this is brand new out in paperback. It did a great run for like 10 years in hardcover. Now we just put it out in paperback.
All right, you can go to marketingofevil.com. Excuse me, I've been fighting a bad one. To get this, but it's also the website for your other books, right?
Yeah, it's got all three of the books, and there are audiobook versions of them and bundles and all kinds of good stuff. So that's the best web address to go to.
Roughly, this is about, what's this about roughly?
It's about how we got sold on all the crazy things and lifestyles and beliefs that are infecting the country today.
Right. Then you came out with How Evil Works, and this is roughly about?
How Evil Works is the sequel, and it explains, if The Marketing of Evil is about the con man and how they conned us, How Evil Works is about what is wrong with us that we would fall for the con. It's for the other half of the con. It takes two to get fooled.
Right. And then the latest book is The Snapping of the American Mind. By the way, Healing a Nation Broken by Lawlessness, Government, and a Godless Culture. All of these are available at marketingofevil.com. This is his latest book. Excuse me. And by the way, this is an incredible resource, and we've talked to David about it. You can get that there as well. All right. Well, so much to talk about the convention. What do you think so far?
It's fun. They wanted to make a fun convention. It's unorthodox. If you've seen the previous conventions of both parties, it's enjoyable to watch. We're right in the middle. Tonight is the last night, and then next week is the DNC convention, and that is going to be such a contrast, okay? Because, it just points up the choice that the country has right now. We're coming to this crossroads where we've had Barack Obama and whatever you think of that for the past almost 8 years, and now we're going to decide which way we're going to go. And it's so odd, like the theme of Hillary Clinton coming up is Stronger Together. That's the theme you're going to be seeing up, like Make America Great Again. It's going to be Stronger Together next week. So what have the Democrats been doing for the last few years? They've been dividing everybody, black against white, demonizing opponents. Republicans are all racists and homophobes and Islamophobes and misogynists and all those big words that Hillary uses, so it's a different universe we're going to see next week. This week, it's Donald Trump's family, it's his wife, it's his kids get up there talking, and they're very impressive. And there's a kind of a biblical aspect to this, since this is a Christian show. By their fruits you shall know them. Your fruits as a father, as a parent, are your children. And you look at these kids, and they are very impressive. They don't seem like spoiled brats. They seem grounded. They have good values. They love their father. That's a good thing. And they're very respectable. And so that's the main high point. The other thing well, there were two things that stand out during the week, okay, that were like odd. One was Melania's speech, where there was some lines that were cribbed from Michelle Obama's speech, and the other one is Ted Cruz getting booed off the stage, essentially last night. So, and I think there's lessons in all of those.
There's one other one too, and there was some booing, not a whole lot, but there was some booing from Mitch McConnell when he came out, but I think that got tempered a little bit. But let's talk about the Melania speech. I thought the way Donald Trump handled that, he didn't pull "you're fired" moment. He actually handled it in a very gentle, Christian way.
Yeah, I actually brought the letter. This is on the Trump organization letterhead that was written. There's a woman who's a staffer on the Trump organization. Her name is Meredith McIver, okay? And she helped Melania with the speech. And yes, she did. Melania had certain people she admired, and one of them was Michelle Obama, certain things about her that she liked, and other first ladies. And it is a crazy, and let's face it, stupid thing that happened, okay, to draw basically whole lines from Michelle Obama's speech. Be that as it may, it was innocent. The big hubbub that resulted from that, this woman, Meredith McIver, tried to resign. And so she writes, she says, "Yesterday I offered my resignation to Mr. Trump and the Trump family, but they rejected it. Mr. Trump told me that people make innocent mistakes and that we learn and grow from these experiences." Okay, and then a couple paragraphs later at the end, she says, "I apologize for the confusion and hysteria, blah, blah, blah. Today more than ever, I am honored to work for such a great family. I personally admire the way Mr. Trump has handled this situation, and I am grateful for his understanding." And the reason that caught my eye, Perry, is, a lot of people say, well, Trump, he built casinos. Is he a Christian? To me, that is Christian behavior, okay? Yeah. Which I really care about more than the particulars of their dogma or which stripe of Christianity they're a part of. As a president, I want somebody who's going to say the right things. This is very golden rule-ish. He's treating others the way he'd like to be treated. I like that.
Do you think it was overtly plagiarism, or is it, you're a writer, you're a publisher, don't we take things that other people say and maybe say it in our way? Well,
yes, and people have pointed this out, that this is not the first time. Michelle Obama did not make up these ideas that if we, if we want to pass on our values to our children. I've said that before. You probably have. It's probably been said a million zillion times. The thing is that the phraseology was so close, not exact, but close, that it's pretty evident that somehow it came from Michelle's speech. But yes, it was innocent, and yes, this was not some kind of patented. Unique sentiments. They were very, almost, Ann Coulter called them trite, okay? That's a little bit uncharitable, but they were very classic, universal values that we, if you work hard, you can get ahead, and you want to pass good values on to your children.
Overall, what did you think of Melania's speech?
I thought it was delightful. Okay, this is her fifth language. She's there. She's not really a person in the spotlight who wants the spotlight. And she came out to support her husband. And that was part of the plan. The whole family is out there. I thought she was gracious. She means what she says. She was very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, for getting up in front of that crowd, reading off a teleprompter, nobody doing this before, and you're possibly going to be the next First Lady of the United States. That's quite the pressure, and she did a pretty good job. Let's slip over to the Ted Cruz thing. He literally got booed off the stage last night for not finally endorsing Donald Trump. And I saw it, I watched it. I didn't watch it live, I watched the repeat. And I got to thinking, I thought, wait a minute. He's made the statement that Donald Trump knew that he wasn't going to endorse them. Was that the reason Donald Trump was waiting in the wings after the speech to come out on the stage? I don't know, you maybe have a comment on that. But wouldn't it have been better for Ted Cruz just not to have accepted the opportunity to speak than do this to himself?
He probably thinks so in retrospect, Perry.
Yeah.
A lot of people, including Cruz, like to compare him to Ronald Reagan, the Reagan conservative. Well, there is a direct historical parallel that's being talked about a lot, and that is in 1976. We all know that Reagan won in 80 and 84, landslide victories. But in 1986, he ran in the primary and he lost to Gerald Ford. So what did he do at the convention? He got up on the stage and put his arm around Gerald Ford. He said, "We need unity. Here's your candidate. Vote for Gerald Ford." And 4 years later, and Ford lost, of course, in the election. And 4 years later, Reagan the rest is history. You had the Reagan 80s that changed our country, for a long time. It was a huge relief to have Reagan in the office after the Carter years. But he earned it because he was loyal. We talked about the Ten Commandments here in a recent time. Reagan had remember the 11th commandment of Republicans?
Right.
Well, thou shalt not speak ill of fellow Republican.
Right.
Okay? So what did Ted Cruz do? He didn't come out and say Donald is a pathological liar like during the campaign. That time is over. But he came out and he did something he really shouldn't have done. In that there is an implicit understanding that you're going to endorse the candidate if you're going to appear at their convention. And he did not, and he did it in a conspicuous way. There's a certain delusion. I wrote a chapter in this book called "The Secret Curse of Celebrity." Okay, and I've never seen anything else like it, but it goes into what happens in your mind when you become famous. If you're not really grounded and really hold on to your roots, your spiritual roots and values, you can become very delusional. And I'm sorry to say, I used to be a big supporter of Cruz. I stayed up and watched his filibuster. I cheered when he challenged the Obama administration. But I would say, and I'll just make a prediction, I think, and I'm not gleeful in saying this, okay, I think it's sad to see anybody fail. I think his career is over. I don't believe that even if Trump loses, which I don't think is going to happen, but even if it did, I don't believe he'll be the nominee in 4 years, because people remember this. Barack Obama became the candidate in 2008 because of a electrifying speech he gave at the DNC convention before. These are very much make or break your career type of events, and I'm afraid Cruz broke his career last night.
Yeah, I was very disappointed to see this happen. I thought as a Christian he would have done the more Christian-like thing because of Mike Pence being on the ticket. Mike Pence opened up his speech last night. I am a Christian, I'm a conservative, and I'm a Republican in that order. I thought, well, all right, this would give Cruz a reason to come out and embrace the ticket for that. But when he took himself above that, I thought, uh-oh, he's in trouble. Let me take a break. When we come back, tonight's the big night. What do you want to hear? All right, we'll find out. David Kupelian's with us. We'll be right back.
I'm Paulina Leiser, producer of Focus Today. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure to check our other videos at theDove.us.
Welcome back, and what a delight to have in the studio with us David Kupelian, and he's author of quite a few books, and his latest one is, you got to get a copy of this. It's called The Snapping of the American Mind, and actually this is a book of healing, and I think you'll find it to be extremely resourceful. He's also authored a couple of other books. It started with The Marketing of Evil, and this is when I really started to get into David's writing, and then he came up with How Evil Works. These are great resources, and the best thing you can do is go to marketingofevil.com, and you can get all three of these books. Of course, you can look for them on Amazon, but if you go to marketingofevil.com, I think you'll find some little bit better deals there, and check it out. And he writes for WorldNet Daily, WND Books, and WND website, so check that out. You'll see his name across there. What an honor to have this incredible author and spokesperson in our studio. We're talking about the RNC convention. Tonight's the big night. Before I ask you the big question about what do you want to hear, I want to go back to something we were talking about during the break. I said, do you think there may be a time where statesmanship can return to politics?
Yeah, now would be a really good time.
Yeah, well, it would be,
I think, what that makes me think of is, just going back briefly to the Cruz segment here, it's not just Cruz. The other primary candidates all took a pledge. And several of them have broken that pledge. The reason for the pledge was to force Donald Trump to support the eventual nominee and not break off in a third party.
Right.
And he signed the pledge, okay? And so did everybody else. Well, where is John Kasich? You know, let's talk about this. The Republican, historically, electorally, needs to win Ohio. Okay, if not, we plunge into hell of Hillary Clinton and all that represents. Okay, so John Kasich, good Christian conservative Republican, has it in his power to go to the convention. It's held in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Okay, and say, you, all of you, my good dear friends in Ohio, you need to support this good team of Trump and Pence. Okay, where is he? Okay, where is Jeb? Exclamation mark. Yeah. Jeb, the man with no last name. Okay, yeah. He also signed the solemn pledge. Okay, it says something about you, and you know, in Christian terms, this comes down to you want to call it pride, vanity, whatever term you want to use. There's something about pride, okay, that is a betrayer, okay? It betrays. I've been in this business a long time. I'm not going to name names. I've seen people that are the head of conservative organizations, pro-life organizations, that end up betraying everything that they actually do believe and once stood for, because power and prestige and vanity. And you know, Ted Cruz this morning said he's still mad at Donald Trump for not apologizing to him for something he said. Well, but what about the country? Are you thinking, well, you know, I mean, it's delusional to think you're going to primary a sitting president 4 years from now and you're going to beat him. Okay, yeah. That ain't going to happen. Okay, so but what happened, and not just with Cruz, but with Kasich and Jeb? What happened to? Do you really believe the country is better off under Hillary Clinton? And we don't have to go over all the arguments. She's going to appoint the Constitution-hating Supreme Court justices, and you know, quintuple the number of Syrian refugees. All the rest of it. We all know about that. You know, just in a cold, calculating, mathematical way, we are much better off with Trump, Pence, than with Hillary and whoever else that she puts on her ticket. So why would Jeb, exclamation mark, and Kasich and Cruz, and not to mention all the never Trumpers and everyone, why would they not say, yeah, you know?
You're asking the main question, and I don't know if I know the answer to it other than pride. I was thinking of, you know, I was chairman of the state for 4 years when George W. was running, and we worked hard to get him elected. I'm so disappointed that they're not at the convention. McCain's not at the convention. This is the organization that when it came time for them to be elected, they pulled out everything to make it work. They made the phone calls, they knocked on the doors, they sent out the letters, they did everything, and then all of a sudden they're above that organization.
And the real grassroots, the get out the vote people, the core, the activists,
right,
okay, are the Christians, the conservatives in the Reagan 80s. It was a moral majority. They signed up, literally millions of people registered them to vote. Okay, those are still the people that comprise the core of the Republican get out the vote effort, and yet we've been stuck with these more moderate candidates like McCain and Romney and so forth. But still, they said, you know what? He's so much better than the other side. We have to pull together, and they put aside that he wasn't my first choice. Get over it. You know, 17 people. Obviously, a lot of people didn't get their first choice.
So the net result out of this, David, could be both on the left and the right. The DNC and the RNC will be different parties at the end of this election. I mean, the core of those two organizations are going to be changed.
Yeah. Just to give you an idea of how, you know, people say, well, Obama has pushed the Democrat Party to the left, and now they're saying that Bernie Sanders, I won't do my imitation again this time, Bernie Sanders pushed Hillary to the left. You want to get an idea of just how far to the left the Democrat Party is right now. Okay, all your listeners, okay, go online. Everybody has a smartphone or a computer. Go to the Communist Party. Forget Socialist Party. Communist Party USA, cpusa.org. Just do it right now. And I did it last night. You know what they've got up there? Their main themes: stop the the cops killing the innocent black men, okay? Bashing Donald Trump and the GOP, global warming, stop Islamophobia, stop homophobia. It is a carbon copy, Perry, of today's Democratic Party. Out there, don't believe me. This could just be some guest Perry has on the TV. He's saying this thing about the don't believe me. Go to your computer, cpusa.org, and believe your own lying eyes. Look at that. You say, oh my God. And I'm coming on this way because it's hard to believe difficult things like this. We want to say, no, I think this guy is exaggerating. Maybe he's got it wrong. It's too painful. The truth can be painful. Yeah. But the truth is, there is so little difference between the Communist Party today in America and the Democrat Party. And I plead with people to don't shy away from facing difficult things. This is a tough thing. My father was a Democrat. He was a JFK Democrat. But you know what JFK stood for? He stood for a 30% across-the-board tax cut in the country and standing up strong to, the Cuban Missile Crisis. He was like Republicans we'd like them to be today. Yeah. Okay? So the party has changed, and I think a lot of people still think, well, I've always been a Democrat, I vote Democrat. We need to wake up and realize who it is and what it is we're supporting right now.
All right, I only got a couple minutes left. What would you like to hear Donald Trump say tonight?
Well, I know better than to try to predict what he's going to say, but I know that it's the most important speech of his life, and he says so, and he knows it. And he needs to bridge the gap. There are a lot of people that are against him. A lot of people that would like to be for him but have a problem with him for one reason or another, something from the primary, something they've heard, true or not true. He needs to connect with them. He needs to get on there, and he needs to be so genuine and real and tell his story so that people can say, wow, I mean, if you heard like Laura Ingraham last night, okay, very genuine. You listeners say, wow, this gal is speaking from the heart. He needs to speak from the heart, and it needs to make sense. He says, wow, people need to be able to see him in the White House, say, oh my gosh, what a strange life this is, but I can really see this man in the White House. He's the right time, the right person for a time such as this. That's what he needs to accomplish.
Okay, and I might add, I mean, all right, we got some really hard feelings out there, the Cruzes, the Kasichs, and others. There's still time for Donald Trump to meet with them one-on-one between now and November and get an endorsement. And some person said the best way to accomplish that is for Donald to literally reach out to John Kasich and sit down with him and ask for it. You agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. I think it'd be great. That's what Newt tried to do last night. Newt Gingrich got on and he said, well, here's what Ted Cruz meant to say. This is what he was trying to say. He says, you got to vote up and down ticket for the people that are going to stand for the Constitution. He says, there's only one person that's running for president that can do that, and that's Donald Trump. So that's what Cruz was really saying. Yeah. He was trying to diffuse some of the rancor in the room, and I think help Cruz at the same time. But I totally agree that would be a smart move for Trump. You know, so many people are brainwashed and confused in the country right now. The Republican ticket needs every vote that it can get, and it really needs the assets of the other candidates.
Well, you're inspiring, David, and I just want to say to our viewers and listeners, first of all, I'm anxious to talk to you on the other side of the other convention, and we'll compare the two. But let me say to our viewers and listeners, you can go to themarketingofevil.com. That's what started all this, his book here. And then the follow-up to that was How Evil Works. These are great resources. Get that in front of the camera. There you go. And then the other one is The Snapping of the American Mind. This is his latest book. This is a book about healing a nation broken by lawless government and godless culture. Boy, he really nails it. So go to marketingofevil.com. and you can get all these books. Of course, you can also get them online at Amazon. Thank you, David, for your insight and your honesty and transparency. I would just hope that at the end of the day, we need to have a coming together, not at the cost of our principles. But somewhere along the line, statesmanship has to resurface again. Not at the point of compromise, but at the point of just bringing the country together, working together, and getting this thing going. And it's just a new day. Whoever thought Donald Trump would be the nominee, and which is anti-establishment, up against a well-established Democrat who's got all these issues, and that's the choice today. It's amazing, don't you think?
It is. We need that D10 Caterpillar tractor in Washington.
There you go. All right, we'll be right back.